Bible Basics for a Life Fully Lived with the one, the only, Peter Sibilio. Good morning to you. Good morning, Pete.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, good morning. Yes, I wish there were more of me now that the bills from Christmas are coming in.
Yeah, I don't want any more of me. I'd like less of me.
Yeah,
And a lot of people say that to me. I'd like less of you, Dave. So.
Well, it is absolutely wonderful to be back. And, I was thinking with Bible Basics, we take 2 for you, but we go beyond Bible Basics now and take 5 to keep our faith alive.
Oh, yes, I like that.
Take 5
I like
to
it.
keep our faith alive.
It does not pay any of the bills, though.
No, that's true.
I thought, once again, maybe we look at something old and then something new. I keep promising to unveil my plan for Father Eric to get his banner, and we probably won't have time for that today. But also, a few, almost unlikely places we hear of again and again, but seldom see, at least as fully as we should. So maybe just a few verses from Luke 2 and Matthew 2. Luke writes, "When the angels went away from them, the shepherds said to one another, 'Let us go to Bethlehem to see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us.' So they went in haste and found Mary and Joseph and the infant lying in a manger." And then just probably a little later on in the story, we hear in Matthew, "Now the Magi were overjoyed at seeing the star, and on entering the house, they saw the child with Mary and his mother. They prostrated themselves, did him homage, opened their treasures, and offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. But, having been warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed for their own country by another way." Now, I know, which say, why are we doing this again? We've heard it so many times, but man, this story, so true, plays out so unexpectedly. I mean, the infancy starts with Caesar and census, but Jesus is born in a barn in Bethlehem, not with a king, but hunted by a king, King Herod. And I got to tell you, I've gotten such an unexpected reaction to just something I said last time, that Jesus was born cold, homeless, and hunted. And so many people have come up to me and said, I never thought about it that way. But we kind of have to think about it that way, because he probably wasn't cold physically when he died, but he said, "I'm thirsty." And once again, he dies homeless and hunted. And it just, how can we apply that to our lives? And I think especially as Advent ends, this time of coming, we have to admit that we find Jesus in the most unlikely of places. Okay, we can find him when we feel cold, homeless, and hunted. And, even if we have a house, it doesn't always feel like home. There are times of tension, times of stress. Someone is in pain emotionally, physically. And if we can find Christ in that moment and find Christ in our hearts in those tough times, well, then I think Advent really has come for us, and we can make the ordinary extraordinary as we turn to ordinary time again. And boy, I tell you, that came through for me just this past Saturday. My prayer partner, best friend Lisa, had us watch a movie called Broken Mary, about a radio legend, Kevin Matthews, and how he found a statue of Virgin Mary broken in the trash, and how just he had this call he felt really from Jesus, and just this message, "My mother will clean you up," and how it completely changed his life around. And I don't know if we could ever get him here, but he's up the road in Chicago, and I don't know, I might go see him, because I think, it's in these unlikely places, in a trash dump in Peoria, in a barn in Bethlehem, that Christ comes, and we have to find Christ in the most unlikely of places.
In many of us, and I know I say this on occasion without a whole lot of thought, "Jesus, I want to come to know you better." And if you really want to come to know somebody better, you're going to have to go to where they live. You're going to have to go to where their life exists, right? And so if we want to know Jesus, to your point, Pete, we're going to have to know the one who was hunted. We're going to have to know the one who didn't have a place to lay his head, as he said later in his own life during his ministry. And you're not going to miss that part of him if you really want to get to know him. Yes, he is King of Kings, Lord of Lords on a throne, but he was also, to your point, homeless, hunted, and cold.
And that, that not only came to me with this wonderful movie, entertaining but so informative.
Yeah.
But also with, the big old Christmas party with the three comings of Advent. Christ has come, Christ will come again, but Advent is supposed to bring Christ into our hearts. And it's really in the toughest times that we're sort of called to walk with him. I think we were talking about coaches. Coach Belichick, didn't used to dwell on a loss. He said, it's on to Cincinnati. Well, hey, it's on to Egypt and more tough times, more uncertainty. And if Jesus, Mary, and Joseph could make it through that uncertainty, as long as we stick with them, well, we're going to make it through ours.
I want to ask you something. Now, this has been just a curiosity of mine. I think I may have heard people talk about it, but nothing has stuck so far. The three kings, the wise men, they bring, and we know what they brought. They brought gold, frankincense, and myrrh. There is some material value to those items.
Yes.
Because the scripture doesn't tell us, but what do we think happened to those material things and the value associated with those? And I'll just leave it right there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
We should do a Bible basics on that.
Yeah.
Well, of course, Mary was hoping for Pampers.
Yeah.
The gold, of course, they could have put it aside for Jesus's college fund.
Yeah, right.
But we assume that they had to take them with them into Egypt, and it's almost like there are all these parallels between the Egypt story, really short in Matthew and longer in Exodus. It's interesting how the Israelites took goods out of them, goods out of Egypt when they left.
Right.
And Jesus, Mary, and Joseph presumably bring these things with them.
Oh, wow. Yeah, right.
And, of course, myrrh had many, many uses. We know the theological value, Christ as priest, prophet, and king. But it could also be used for, any unpleasant odors that sometimes come up with kind of the smell this.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, that's right. But, I love that because obviously there is that monetary value to it. It had to be used for something, maybe given away, but certainly could have been used for their travel to Egypt and resettling, right? So
more tough times there. And so they're with us in our tough times and our journeys.
Love it. Thank you for that explanation, Professor Pete.
Good stuff as always, Professor Peter Sibilio. Oh, yes.